With the rise of Bloodborne remaster in the news yet again, and with massive creators playing the game like Kai Cenat, I figured it was the perfect time to break some hearts in this tragic tale of fatherhood, corruption, beasts, and you know what? It's Bloodborne, so you know it's going to be a great story all around. We just talked about the check bosses in our last video for Elden Ring, and this is the purest definition of that. So without further ado, let's talk about the tragedy of Father Gascoigne. Imagine you're a new player to Bloodborne. You hop in, you get met with that horrific opening cutscene while you're on the table. There's some dialogue that won't make sense until the Vati video, and you're thrown into the world of Yharnam. You explore. There's these corrupted men who are beasts, and they don't exactly like another outsider being there. On top of that, if you're a new player, you're in for a beatdown. Bloodborne was my very first Souls game, and getting the brutal introduction of so many new systems, the feeling of hopelessness as my blood vials went down, the sheer dread of turning the corners, made it an unbeatable feeling. Bloodborne succeeds so hard in this atmosphere of tragedy and the macabre horror that you almost forget you're looking into a screen. Instead, it's like you're diving into real-life London. New players were not the only outsiders going to Yharnam in their first playthrough. Father Gascoigne, the subject of today's video, was very much from a distant land. Gascoigne was a priest, in which he earned the title of Father. At some point in his life, Gascoigne traveled to Yharnam and eventually joined the Healing Church as a hunter. Father Gascoigne took a wife by the name of Viola, and the pair had 2 children. Now as the hunt grew, so did Gascoigne's lust for blood. The greed of the Healing Church was to blame as they looked at the old blood, were warned about needing to fear it, and still chose to ministrate it to sick people as magic juice. And it's not even gamer subs with code EVAN, which is genuinely the best magic juice you can ever ask for. It might even unleash the beast inside. So go there and check it out with the link below. No, in Gascoigne's case, and every patient and hunter, the lust for blood from killing beasts and being around it made it intoxicating. For Gascoigne, he would forget his own family at times, due to this beasthood and bloodlust. As every player journeyed through Yharnam on that very first time, there were 2 paths. The path to the sewer section, and the path to the top of the bridge. If you went to the top of the bridge, you could see a place that would basically become home with Cathedral Ward above it. And if you approached it... Oh god damn it! This boss was the optional one. A massive beast served as a tutorial for beast bosses you would encounter in the game. I'm not going to stick here too long, but the cleric beast is important to this fight, since you can spawn in Father Gascoigne to help you, teaching you summons. The cleric beast had one of the best songs and a great introduction to what players would be getting into, and it was just a great fight all around. Down the other path and into the sewer, it's filthy. There's monsters you would be happy to never see again. And there was a ladder taking you to a very special window that would become the tragic portion of today's story.
Come on. I'm scared. It's not fair.
You can already see where this is going. After talking to the little girl, you head closer to central Yharnam and up the main bridge to Cathedral Ward. But other than this rolling, flaming boulder, there is one hunter in a graveyard of his own, and the other tutorial type of check boss. This one restricting access to the rest of the game. Meet Father Gascoigne.
Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
I think we all collectively agreed this was one of the harder fights in the series for this early of a boss. Father Gascoigne has 3 forms in this battle. His first 2 forms use his trick weapon, the Hunter Axe, which you also have access to at the start. He begins with the axe in a shortened form and will shoot his Hunter pistol at the Hunter after his combos or dodges. Gascoigne's axe does act a little different though, as it recurves compared to ours. He also holds his axe differently, which you could make the claim that it's just extra cool lore since he's an outsider, but I think he's just a boss doing boss activities in the game. There was 2 ways to really make this seemingly impossible fight a lot easier for players though. Parrying, since his attacks are very telegraphed, or the transform state of the axe. What, you thought I was going to talk about Bloodborne again and not bring up trick weapons? With this transformation, players could stand behind the graves and hold a charged heavy attack for big damage without Gascoigne really hitting you. Yeah, there was cheese in Bloodborne too. I remember the first time fighting this guy that he was just ruthless, and every time I died, I left wanting to jump right back in. He was ruthless, but fair. It is technically even possible to summon Gascoigne to kind of get to Gascoigne. The problem was ladders and elevators, which he just can't take. Damn you, FromSoftware! At the first and second phase of the fight, Gascoigne submits to the bloodlust, maybe from his very own blood being spilled, or just a last-ditch effort to try to kill you. He transforms into a beast. But we had one major countermeasure, his own family reminder. The music box will remind Gascoigne of his humanity for a moment, and will make him chuckle. This idea was actually used later and in other games. The Wet Nurse, for some reason, has the music box work with it, I'm not really sure why, and with Margit and Moog Shackle, respectively. Bosses that could be stunned by items, and I know there's probably more out there with fun interactions, but I always found Gascoigne's to be the most tragic of them all. A reminder of humanity in something that was so close to this poor guy. This form is stronger, it's faster, it's more aggressive. He also gets a new jump attack, which can catch players off guard if they aren't careful. However, his resistance to fire damage drops accordingly, so you can save some Molotov cocktails to finish off this phase faster. It is still possible to stagger him with firearms and some attacks during this phase, as they are particularly easy to interrupt, despite him looking intimidating. In this phase, you might end up at the top of the arena where you could see an item sitting by itself, the red brooch, a sign that Gascoigne either killed his wife or something did, and he found it here. Probably the former, with his humanity slipping day by day. So it was finally time to end this tragic character once and for all. A choice. Tell the truth?
Mr. Hunter, was it really her? Mummy? Mummy? Leave me alone.
And she will no longer be able to be interacted with. If you kill Rom the Vacuous Spider later into the game, her sister will be at the window instead, and ask the hunter to find the young girl. The man-eater boar, found in the sewers, will drop the red messenger ribbon when killed. Are you kidding me, FromSoftware? Giving us all the information we needed. See, she tried to find somewhere safe, maybe even the Odin Chapel, but instead was killed on the way. If you give the ribbon to her sister, this will cause her to commit suicide by jumping off the ladder near their residence, with a white messenger ribbon at the bottom of that ladder. Yeah, I know he wrote this shit. If you instead lie, the options aren't great either. You can tell her of the Odin Chapel for real this time, a genuinely safe place, and she will not be there either. Instead, she will meet the same fate in the sewers to the boar. If you tell her instead to go to Yosefka's clinic, there is a much shorter resolution. Unlike Odin Chapel, she will be able to reach her destination. If you unlock the shortcut to the clinic, however, you will find the girl has been transformed into a celestial minion by Yosefka's imposter. A whole different story in and of itself. This minion is instantly recognizable as its docile nature won't even let it harm you. If you do kill it, it'll drop the weakest form of the formless Odin rune. God, dude, why do they do this? There is, however, the only good ending. Do not talk to the family of Gascoigne at all. Avoid Yharnam, its secrets, and goddammit, fear the old blood. As we learn in Yharnam, everything is preventable, and it was humanity's effort that led us to the discovery of the old blood. They were warned, and they didn't stay away. Hopefully now you understand the story of tragedy with Father Gascoigne and the human cost of greed associated to the old blood. I want the Bloodborne remaster, and it was cool seeing Kai and others play the game again. My name is Evan, and hopefully I explained that well.